Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Tifosi Time, our special European 2020 final edition. For those of you guys that normally watch the show, we have a Monday show live at 9 p.m. Eastern, but we are coming to you on Saturday before the Euro 2020 final between Italy and England. And we thought we should have a preview show where we're going to break down the match, talk about what the Azzurri have to do to take home the trophy and what they have to avoid doing to losing to England and making them the happiest people on the planet. So I'm Frank. I'm here with Chris and Dan. Say hello, fellas.
Hey.
Hello.
Quick reminder before we get into it, as always. A tremendous intro, guys. As always, reminder, we are typically streaming live on Monday nights on YouTube and Twitch. We also have an audio podcast version, which you can find pretty much anywhere podcasts are available. So those of you that like to eat your meals and listen to your content, we recommend the audio version only.
It's the same joke every time.
Yeah, it is the same joke every time. We are sponsored, not sponsored by Dunkin' Donuts. So we have the little tab here. But Dunkin', if you're loving it, give us a call. All right. Let's get into it, fellas. Let's talk about this. Well, I think we should first start off, before we really start breaking down the match, let's just start off with the congratulations, Italy, for making the final. Great job. That's an accomplishment in itself, right? Ultimately, you need to take home the title for it to mean anything. But before we get into breaking down the match, I think some kudos their way is definitely, I wanted to get that out because I know by the time I start talking, it's probably going to sound like I'm more negative than positive. So great job making the final, even if it was by the skin of our teeth and penalties for Spain. I wanted to throw that out there so people understand that I am rooting for Italy.
Yeah, I think before this tournament started, especially the way Italy didn't even make the World Cup, the last World Cup, I think realistically people would have been happy with like a top 4 finish, and the fact that they're in the finals and they have a legit shot of winning it, good for them. They've exceeded expectations, I think, from most. Which is,
I don't know. I don't know. Would you go that far?
I would.
Would you agree with that, Chris?
Yeah, because I don't know. Before the tournament, they weren't the favorites. No one even took them seriously besides us, right? Like
there was probably like 6 or 7 teams with higher odds, better odds to win the tournament, right?
Yeah. I guess if you're going by the odds makers for sure, and then the neutrals, yeah, that's probably right. But I think yes, I agree with that. Then I was looking more from an Italian perspective, right? I think when you're one of the big countries, you're never really satisfied unless you win the whole thing. But in these tournaments, it takes a good run of form, definitely some luck along the way, right? So yeah, I think that's fair what you guys said.
This last game alone, like they didn't have their best game, right, for Spain,
no,
but they still pulled off a win and did what they had to do, right?
So why don't we?
Anytime you get to penalties with Italy, you're like, oh, come on,
100%.
So
100%. So let's start there then. Let's talk a little bit, and we're going to spend most of the show talking about obviously England versus Italy, right, in the final. But let's just to make sure we have some context, let's talk about that Spain game a little bit and just our takeaways. So yeah, Chris, I don't know if you want to keep going with what you were saying in terms of how you thought they played.
Well, I think overall you can say that Spain probably outplayed Italy, right? They had the possession. They played a good game, and for Italy to pull out that win is pretty impressive. Like I said, especially in PKs. Beautiful goal, a quick start from Donnarumma, like to get it up there, and Chiesa actually finishing. We said this during the podcast last season. We said Chiesa, the one thing he needs to do is work on his finishing, and it looks like he actually kind of is. Like that was a beautiful finish, right? And for them, to get that goal, and then give credit to Spain and Morata, right? Dealing with all his crap, beautiful combination play, great goal.
Morata, who didn't start, the coach changed it up. He kept that as a surprise that he was going to, put Morata on the bench because he was going up against Chiellini and Bonucci, and he started with like a false 9 kind of thing. Didn't really work out for them. They were, offensively in the beginning, Spain had chances, Olmo missing shots. They didn't play well up top. We put Morata in, and he came through, which is, we like to see that as Juventus fans, not, obviously not playing against Italy, but
yeah. And then ultimately at the end with the PKs, you can get into that, whatever. I thought we had the advantage because of Donnarumma, right? He's huge, 6'5" in the net. Like, I don't want to shoot against him, right? The only thing because we are Juventus and Morata fans, to see him miss that. I said to Dan, we were sitting right next to each other. I said, anyone but him.
Well, and I text you guys, right? Eerie parallels to the 2006 World Cup final with Trezeguet.
Yeah, it sucks.
Right. So obviously huge Juventus fans. Trezeguet was one of the best forwards in the world. Their crazy, crappy coach who believed in like astrology wouldn't play Trezeguet, right? Whatever. The entire tournament. He comes in the final. We're like, here we go. We're gonna lose because of Trezeguet, and then ultimately he hits the crossbar on that penalty, and Italy wins the final in penalties. So it was so similar to that with Morata coming up and missing the penalty. Felt bad for him at a personal level. Happy as hell he missed it, obviously. He'll go on with his life. It'll still be he'll still have a good one. It'll be okay. Listen, Baggio's still trying to live that down from the final, right? So
yeah.
So here's the thing about the Spain game, right? Like I agree with you. I don't think we played well. So I know some people took it as, oh, this is Italy. They know how to absorb pressure, right? Which they do traditionally. I don't think this team is designed to absorb pressure. I don't think we're as impenetrable in the defense. Bonucci and Chiellini are that much older and they've played great, but when you put them under pressure for 75 minutes, you're just inviting bad things to happen. Our fullbacks are not great, especially with the loss of Spinazzola. And our midfield, if you have them tracking and chasing the ball and not pressuring higher up the field and creating turnovers, really, really takes away a lot of what they do well when they have the ball. So I think Mancini set it up like that. Either that or Spain had a great game and we were just outclassed, right?
No, but I think they had a different mentality, a different mindset going into that game.
I agree with that, Dan, because they were not pressuring high up the field. One of the things that was clear is the Spain goalie is not comfortable with the ball at his feet, cannot distribute, right?
I told you that last week. I said, dude, he's not at the top of the game when it comes to that part.
Well, this is why I criticize Mancini, right? Because he clearly set them up to not press until they were in our half, right? So we gave them supremacy in the midfield. And the few times we did press the goalie, either he gave it straight away to us, kicked it out of bounds, right? We were able to go up the field. So to me, even though we got the result in luck, which is a lottery and penalties, right? I don't think we set the game up the right way. I think we should have gone out there, played our game. And I know some people say, well, you could have lost that way. Yeah, we could have, but we could have just as easily lost in penalties this way. And I don't see why they went in with this mentality after playing so differently the rest of the tournament, why they decided to give Spain 65% possession. I question that big time. And I'm a little worried about it in the final, quite frankly, because we look like the more tired team. I think we said like the whole tournament, Italy was looking more in shape, more informed, faster, winning, 50-50 balls. Not in this game. In this game, we looked more tired. So, I don't know what that means for the next game, but I kind of question Mancini a lot of how he set that game up.
I think it'll be a different game. Spain, wants to control possession and things like that. So I think it will be different. There's going to be a different mentality and approach. We'll get to that, but I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, to add to Italy, I mean, our big question mark was Florenzi. I mean, not Florenzi. Yeah. Who played on the left? Why am I blanking? Emerson on the left, who actually I don't think played a terrible game. Yes, defensively he's shaky, but he actually did make runs up front. He didn't know what to do with the ball once he got up there, like towards the box or whatever. But it was nice to see him actually try.
Well, that was the interesting part. As bad as we played, Emerson came out with a few give and go runs up the wing with Insigne a couple at the beginning. That I was like, oh, he's waking up, right? Which was like, but the rest of the team was so far back absorbing pressure. Like we didn't even try to pressure them until they were 35 yards away from our net. We gave them the field. It was almost like we thought we were going to beat them on the counterattack, which is like a throwback. And again, not necessarily that it's crazy, but we only have a couple players with true speed. Spinazzola's out, and then it's Chiesa. And yes, Insigne and Berardi on the counterattack could work, but why play it like that? Like I just question that mentality, right? Like
Well, I think it's a different team, right? Like Spain is they like to have possession and they're so technically gifted that it's like you make a mistake pressing, you're screwed now, right? So it is a different approach.
I agree, but their defenders were, yes, they can play out of the back, but they're not the greatest player with their feet either. Like when we pressured them, we were able to get turnovers. My thing is like, if you let a good team who's skilled play and control the ball in your half for that long, bad things are going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, especially the way the rules have changed, right? This is very similar to like, if you look at other sports, right? The NFL, that you can't touch a wide receiver without it being pass interference. In basketball, you can't hand check anymore like you could in the 90s. Like, you can't let a team, I think, press you for 80 minutes in your box without getting a penalty against you, without getting, I just don't think it's a good way when you're, I don't know. And listen, they passed it, so I'm not going to kill them too much, but I think it was.
I think we'd agree with you because we just said, that wasn't, I think Italy did get outplayed. They're fortunate to get the win, right? We're happy, but, it's whatever.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, so I mean that's they advanced. That's the important part. That's that game. And before we talk about the final, let's quickly talk about England-Denmark, which England won 2-1, right?
Our boy Damsgaard with a beautiful free kick. We say beautiful, but I mean I think if that was Donnarumma, that's saved. Right?
Yeah, the ball was towards the center of the net.
It hit Pickford's hand. He just didn't have long enough arms.
Yeah.
But happy for Damsgaard. The rumors that like people want him now for a lot of money. So I hope they hold on to him, stay in Italy. And then
first goal that England gave up the entire tournament. So say what you want about their defense. Like we questioned them at the beginning of the tournament that like their defense was shaky, in the center and wings, whatever. They only let up one goal the entire tournament so far.
Well, and I will say, and we'll get into this a little bit about when we talk about the England in the final, but I will say there were stages of that game that Denmark played really well, right?
Yes.
They were confident on the ball. They moved it quickly. They played in and out of tight spaces. They were able to knock the ball around 15, 20 passes in a row, right? And really seeing that at those stages, England was struggling. Like they could not recover the ball. Denmark was making good runs off the ball.
That being said, I do think that England played a better game.
After that first half,
Denmark just like flipped the switch. They were like, "No, we're not going to play like that anymore." I don't know why. But.
And then at the end, goes to at the end with that penalty shot. We all don't think that was a foul. A lot of other people don't. I think the best thing that they could have done is just not call it. Take it to VAR and then say, "Hey, it wasn't."
Yeah, because you can't overturn it once it's already been called. That's the whole thing. And do I think that was a penalty? No, I thought that was a weak penalty. That was not something that you want a game decided on.
On that point, at that point, England was in control. But it does change the game. Like one of the announcers go, at the point that probably went on, where I heard somebody do a video. Maybe Rabona TV or something on YouTube. I watched it. He said, they probably would have went on to win. And maybe they would have, right? Because they did have control. But at that point, there's really no coming back from that, right? In terms of mentally.
And Denmark was dead in that game. Like that, they couldn't move once it hit like the 80th minute of the game. So they had another 40 minutes of just.
Well, that was one of the most worrisome things from the Spain-Italy game as well. Like just the lack of fitness that we seem to have. In overtime, we played it pretty negative.
You realize this is how many games they're playing this year. Like
it is, but that's for every team, right?
But it's not like they're not running. Like Italy runs.
And to me, it's not an excuse because England's played extra time games. They have 1 day rest, one day less rest. So don't give me that stuff with they're tired. England's going to be should be more tired than them.
Oh, well, England. No, I was saying even versus Spain. Didn't Spain have shorter rest than us? And
and they played extra time games. So Italy doesn't really listen. All these players have played like over 50 games this collective year. It's a crazy season, crazy schedules. They play too much. We know this already, but. Come tomorrow, it's going to be an even fair fight.
I just wonder the recovery, like what they're doing in between games, right? Because they came out in form, and I know there's been a lot of games, short amount, 3 days in between, whatever. But Italy had like one of the more forgiving, I think, schedules because they played first day where they weren't as crammed, but they seem like we have a pretty young team except for Chiellini and Bonucci, but like we didn't recover as well. Like some of
Yeah,
our guys that
but-
retired were like Barella.
It's all the same though. Like England has played home games every game, so like
Yeah.
they don't have to travel. So it's
Well, one of the interesting things that I did hear was basically all the 4 teams that didn't have to travel during the group rounds like made it to the
yeah, they made it the
Yeah.
furthest.
Yeah.
So it definitely plays into it. And England, I mean, I guess we can start talking about the game tomorrow, but England is going to have a straight up advantage with being home. You know, right there. It's
Yes.
going to be, I don't know if it's going to be a sellout if they're allowed to, but it's going to be at least 55,000 people.
Well, they had 65 at the last game. So
I mean, there's that at least, and the majority England fans, if that right there should give England a huge advantage.
Well,
yeah, so has England traveled at all, or have they played every
They went to
game?
Italy. They went to Rome 2 games ago, and then they went back home.
Yeah, so you know, that is one weird advantage, right? Because with this, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't this tournament originally before COVID supposed to be in Italy? And then they decided to do, okay, it's going to be a cross all. Okay, well, that was a fine fix, whatever it is. But it is weird how the final 3 games were, or basically every game, England pretty much got to play home except for 1. So it's like, you know, but it is what it is, right? Like that is, if we're looking at like advantages and for each team, I would put that definitely to Dan's point. Number 1 advantage, you're home.
for sure, but that also puts all the pressure.
Pressure.
on England. All of it. It really does.
Yeah, it will put additional pressure. It really, it will.
Listen, England hasn't won a trophy in 55 years. They have tons of pressure on them. They know what's at stake. They want this very, very badly. So they have everything to lose.
Yeah, this and to me that's also more important to the point of pressure, right? It tells me it's very important how the game plays out at the beginning, right? If you can control the game and come out and score first versus England, the pressure will continue to mount. If you let them gain confidence and get the crowd into it from the first minute, you're setting yourself up to really have a long day, I think. Right? So
I think
that's something to be.
So to talk about Italy's strategy going into the game, obviously I don't want to see them play the way they approached the Spain game, obviously. So even if I can get 45 minutes of them pressing and going forward and maybe squeezing out a goal in that first half, I'll take that over what I saw versus Spain. If they play that way versus England, I think they lose.
Well, yeah, I don't think you win another game for whoever the person is. I don't think you win one more playing like that, right? Because here's the thing that Spain had. We said all tournament, they have a hard time scoring goals, right? So if you look at England versus Spain, Spain has more technical players throughout, but England has what I would say more dangerous strikers.
Harry
right? Like
Kane, Sterling.
Kane and Sterling.
These guys are on form. They're going to punish you if you let them.
I think that's where the game's going to be won. Is if Chiellini can shut down Kane like he did to Lukaku and do his thing, it's going to be good news for Italy. And then you have to worry about your fullbacks on Sterling because he.
Well, I was going to say where we have to do a much better job, right? Because Sterling running at our defenders is going to be problematic. It's going to be either a penalty or it's going to lead to a goal, right? So what we need to do is we need to make sure whoever's on that side, there's somebody, either one of the midfielders or the wing coming back is giving cover to Sterling a lot better than they did versus Doku and Belgium, right? Because we don't want Sterling running at our old defenders where they're pretty much, and we saw how they carved up one good play, Spain, a quick give and go running at them, and Morata got him right in on goal, right? So, I think Kane and Sterling will definitely be a big part of it. And I am also worried about free kicks versus England. Maguire is a threat in the air.
Yes.
Corner kicks and all that.
Corner kicks, free kicks. Like we haven't been that dominant on this tournament as much as you would think. It's pretty much Chiellini in the air, and then if Belotti's in to help out, or we're not that dominant. All our midfielders are short, right? So
they're not physical.
Our fullbacks aren't the best in the air. So Maguire, the way I saw him play versus Denmark, he was dominating Denmark, and they have Kyer and they have big guys that are decent in the air, and he got on the end of 3 or 4 crosses that better finish. Right?
He had a strong game.
He did. So that worries me, right? Because in these games, they're going to be tight, right? Unless it's one of these games where everything goes right and one team's winning 3-0 by the end, because every time you get down there, they score. And, if it's one of those games. But if it's tight, a free kick, a corner, something that could very well be decisive. And that's why I think it's important for Italy to really take the right approach to the game. Like, I don't think Italy should go in trying to win 1-0.
I think they'll be prepared and they're going to have the right mentality. They had to switch it up for Spain. Let's hope they go back to the pressing and all. I think they need to, like you guys said. Let's hope Immobile wakes up a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, he played better than his previous game, but he still did pretty good.
Well, that's actually like, and it's so funny. He's played so bad, and I believe in him. Like, I'm almost like, could it be one of those things we've played so bad that just like the right game falls you in the final? Because I mean, at one point I gave him props for he didn't go right from Immobile back to Belotti. He played with the false 9 that I said for like 15 minutes, which they were a little bit more dangerous in the offense, right? And then he put Belotti in, I think, to help fight a little bit. But they need to figure that out. Like they need to figure that out. But this, to me, this game is going to, and again, let's hope Emerson plays like that version of 20 minutes that he played versus Spain. Let's hope that comes out for maybe 45 or 60 minutes this game. This game is going to come down to the midfield. Like, can we hold the ball? Can we pass in and out? Can we keep England on their heels, right? And can we get Chiesa into space?
Which is going to be tough because England's midfield's pretty good, right? Like,
they're pretty good.
It's going to be a challenge for sure.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I would, they're good. They're playing well. They have a ton of confidence, right? So they're not going to be easy. But that's what I mean. Like, this game is going to be like, who can impress their will on the other team? And before, Italy was very dependent on Spinazzola. Like we talked about, opening up space for the midfield, being an extra person, adding to the group, moving forward, right? Someone they had to worry about. We don't have that anymore. So now it's like, okay, Verratti, Barella, and Jorginho need to do a better job of playing with each other and spreading the ball around so we can run off of it and keep them chasing. If we chase for 85 minutes, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Because players like Mount and them, they can make a pass. They, you know what I mean? They can get, they can be dangerous.
One thing on England's side, Foden might not be available. Not that he started last game, but he did come in. He's picked up an injury. He might not be available. Other than that, I think the squads are pretty full, right? You have Spinazzola on one side and Foden on the other, and then the rest are healthy.
Yeah, it sucks for Italy because, again, Spinazzola is such a difference maker.
Spinazzola did travel with them. He's going to watch the game there.
Well, that's good.
Nice to see, a little extra motivation.
You know what scares me from Italy? Verratti doing something stupid, because we've seen it before.
You say that every week.
I know, but like, he's sliding into these tackles. He's getting lucky. Like,
here's my thing too. Like, I also think Locatelli did add a little bit of structure to the game when he came in, and I also thought Pessina played halfway decent.
He's playing good.
Yeah. So I don't know. You don't want to change the formation, but in the same token, he has to recognize if England takes over the midfield. How do I reinforce the midfield without totally closing us in, right? But like,
Mancini's not afraid to use subs. He knows he's got 5 of them. He uses all of them almost every time. So I'm not worried about that. It's just whether he reads the game correctly or not.
And it's different than a club team. He's not going to piss anyone off, right? Like,
no
tournament, like, we're trying to win it. He knows what he needs to do.
Well, the problem is though, our bench is not very dangerous.
Well,
right, like that's the problem. Like, and I talked about this a little bit last game, and I think we had a little bit of a debate, I think, with Daddy on, right? It was about just like having a player like Keane, which you can't go back to that now, right? But when I look at the options he has on the bench, let's say Chiesa gets tired, let's say it's overtime. When you take a Chiesa out, I always felt like Chiesa, the way he's been informed, the way his speed is, he can create something. There's a chance, right? And when you take him off, it's like I feel in terms of how dangerous we are. I don't know who's that player off the bench.
That was the nerve-wracking part about the sub with Berardi. You thought Chiesa was going to come out, and Chiesa was even limping for a little bit at one point. I was like, oh, great, he's hurt. So now you got to put Berardi in, and I'm glad that he took out Immobile for Berardi. But yeah, Berardi's your sub off the bench. Raspadori maybe could give you energy, but he's not going to put him in. So
do you think there's a chance he starts Berardi and uses Chiesa off the bench?
I think Chiesa's playing too well to take him out.
There was a point where I said Chiesa's awesome to have on the bench.
Yeah,
the speed and stuff, but like, he's a threat when he starts. Like,
it's true. You want to start your best side. And listen, Berardi's good. There's a few the questions that will leave this tournament with them, whether they win or not, are going to be with Italy, right? Moving forward towards the World Cup next year. It's going to be, I need to find my forward. Now, I count Immobile as a forward, but I need to find a forward I can count on, right? For the tournament.
Capuzzo.
Somebody. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's bringing Yaquinta out of prison. Like someone that can actually, score a goal and be dangerous, or at least hold the ball up. And then my fullbacks. I need Spinazzola back. I need to find a suitable replacement for him on the left, and I need to find the equivalent on the right. And then the team goes up a notch, right?
Yeah, well, you're getting ahead of yourself. Let's worry about that.
So let's go. I think you broke down the game and teams enough. Let's go with predictions for the game. How do you guys see this playing out? I know we're all going to pick Italy, but can you give me a little bit more from it?
I mean, I could give you a score.
Go ahead.
I'm hoping they play like they've been playing with the pressing, and I think they're going to do that, right? They're going to play differently than they played for Spain. I do think Italy is the better team. England is home, like we said, so that is an advantage. I think Italy's going to pull it out, and I'm going to say 2-1 for Italy.
Okay, for me, I see extra times, and then I see going into penalty shots.
Please no.
And shame on us for not mentioning Bernardeschi, because what a freaking shot that was on the penalty shots. When he's walking up there, he doesn't inspire much confidence.
Yeah, you're actually right about that. Like good take for Bernardeschi, right?
Yeah, it was an amazing shot. It was very good. But
it's a penalty, right? But at least he was calm.
He's going to pull through again. Italy's going to win on penalty shots versus England. The final will be 2-1, but penalty shots.
Actually, did you question some of those changes he made, knowing that we had penalty shots?
No, I knew he was putting those people. I knew he put Bernardeschi in for a penalty shot.
But I mean, he took out Chiesa, he took out Insigne, he took out.
To be fair, you want Chiesa taking a penalty shot?
Fair, but what about Insigne?
Insigne is capable, but they needed players on the field, right? He's tired. Yeah. He's not moving as much as others.
So anyway, that's my prediction, and also Jorginho we didn't even mention. Not that Jorginho had a great game, but it was a nice, cool, calm, collective penalty shot to seal it. And some people are touting him for win Ballon d'Or if he wins and no way in hell is he going to win that. But because he won the Champions League, but still he's got no shot in winning that. But it was a nice, cool, calm finish. But anyway, my prediction's 2-1 on penalty shots. Bernardeschi will score again.
To me, I mean, it should be a pretty straightforward answer, right? But to me, because the last game that Italy just played was so different than everything that's made them a strong team throughout the tournament, if they show up like that, I think they lose 2 or 3-0. That's my if we let England play and close us down, I think they score a goal, they get one with Kane or Sterling. We try to press them, they get us on the counterattack, and we end up losing 2 or 3-0. If we go and play our game, I think we win 2-1. I think we get ahead 2-0, and then England nips one back because I just don't have confidence in our defense shutting them down. We've given goals, anytime pretty much there's been another team that's been able to attack us. So a lot depends on the form of the players, the mentality that Mancini puts them on the field with, and physically, are they going to be able to run 90 minutes, right, and not lose the tempo?
120 minutes it'll be, but go ahead. So what's your final prediction?
So I'm going to say 2-1 Italy, because I bet on Italy before the tournament and was in a Serie A podcast, right, and we're all Juventus and Italian, so I'm going to say 2-1 Italy.
Same score, which means it's going to be 3-0 England. So take that to DraftKings, guys. Not sponsored.
Although if you want to be, I will start wearing DraftKings bandana. No problem. Give us a call.
So I think that finishes up here. We will have a recap podcast Monday night, 9 p.m. on YouTube, Twitch. It'll be replayed through our podcasts on Google, Spotify, Apple. And you will get all our fresh hot takes from the game, where we will hopefully be happy and cheering that Italy is the European champions, after tomorrow.
Or you can join and watch us sulk and cry. But hopefully we'll be celebrating.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to show up Monday if they lose.
I'm already said Denmark lost, so,
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so anything else, guys? Or you think
no,
enjoy the game.
Enjoy the game. It'll be a good one.
Yeah, take it easy. We'll see you guys on Monday.
Forza Azzurri.